you going on record saying that the future Business Central roadmap is to include on-premise as well?
Wow, pushing me to the limit. What I will go on record and say is
over 200,000 businesses running this.
On the fat part.
Or fat, what did I say, flat? Sorry.
If any of the operations that you're doing require the use of an outside processor or subcontract vendor, that is not supported with assembly.
Don't be afraid to talk to your partner.
Today, we're drinking Arrogant Bastard Ale.
Oh. I want to know why Jim picked this beer over the other one.
Because I really think it resembled, my personality more than anything else.
Level 3, Knuckles has been dispatched. He's on his way.
I think one of the benefits and detriments all at the same time is the visibility that it gave us into our actual data.
Welcome to another edition of A Shot of Business Central and a Beer.
Welcome to episode 24 of A Shot at Business Central and a Beer podcast. My name is Michael Introvertolo, aka the Midwest better version of Brad Pitt. As always, I'm joined by the man who is faster than a Business Central webpage, more powerful than Microsoft's data centers combined, and able to build reports from dimensions without having any dimensions set up. Mr. Ken Sebahar.
Hi, Michael. How you doing today?
I'm good. I listened to Ariana Grande's new song 17 times today. What are your thoughts on that?
Wow. I have no thoughts on it.
Yeah.
How does this, can you sing a couple bars for us?
No, I cannot. So to give the people a little bit of a background here, I guess, Ken has brought in the beer and he has not allowed me to see it.
Yeah, a little something unprecedented here. Usually we share with each other what we're going to be drinking.
Yeah.
So we can kind of prepare, gird our loins and get ready to go and do some research and know what we're drinking. But today I thought, let's change it up a little bit. So Michael is flying blind right now. I poured the glass. He hasn't seen, he saw the can, I guess, from afar. No, not even that.
I just heard that you open it.
So I poured him a glass. It's sitting in front of him. So we're gonna see. So we've been doing this now for what?
Almost 2 years.
2 years,
Yeah.
let's say. We've probably had 30, 35 different beers, all different varieties and types.
Yep.
So we're gonna see how far you've come today and have you take a sniff and tell us what kind of beer it is and get your thoughts about this.
All right. First things first, the smile on your face kind of worries me.
Great. All right. So cheers. Here's the Business Central.
Cheers to Business Central. I'm gonna go with a smell first. It doesn't smell too bad. It smells maybe a little fruity. Let's give it a sip. Okay, that's different than anything we've ever had.
Yeah. It's a brown, kind of a darker, like a golden in color.
Yeah.
Does it taste a little lighter? Yeah, go ahead.
There's not a lot of carbonation to it at all. It's very smooth compared to other beers.
Yeah,
right. It almost is like if it were a soda, like pop, like a flat type of.
Yeah. Anything else strike you?
I want to say it's lighter than other beers.
It is lighter.
I would say it's definitely lighter than other beers.
It is lighter than other beers. I don't know exactly here. I didn't look it up. Let's see right here. It's about 70 calories.
Is it one of those non-alcoholic beers?
Look at you. You got it. It is a non-alcoholic beer. I gave you the hint. So it took one hint, I think, which was 70 calories. That kind of gives it away.
Yeah, or it was one of those really, I don't know, like the calorie count of Miller Lite or some of the other light beers, Bud Light.
So it's from Brooklyn, Brooklyn Brewery. It's called Brooklyn Special Effects. It's a non-alcoholic IPA. So
it's a non-alcoholic IPA.
It is an IPA. Yeah. So you know, 20 years ago, you had Sharps and O'Douls.
Yeah,
I think those were pretty much your
The
two
only one.
choices. And I don't, did you ever have one of
I
those?
never had one, no.
You know, I'd rather drink nothing at all.
I remember like my grandfather and my father tasting it, and they were like, "This is just complete garbage."
Yes,
It-
right?
It's true.
So I look, you know, these have come a long way. There was probably maybe close to at least a dozen, maybe 12, 15 different non-alcoholic varieties. A lot of
Really?
like German or Belgian Pilsners
Really?
at 0%, and then several like IPAs or pale ales
Yeah.
that were at 0.
So I definitely understand how people who, like, I know that George Bush, the President George Bush W, famously used to be a pretty big drinker in his early days and then switched to non-alcoholic beer.
Yep.
So I can see that something like this would help somebody who's in that position, or somebody who really, really, really likes the taste of beer. I think you really, really like the taste of beer. So I don't know if you would drink this instead of, I don't know, at like a lunch engagement with a customer or something where you can't have beer.
Yeah.
You get that taste. What do you think does it like fulfill your taste of beer?
I think if I was, you know, maybe I'm at a ball game and for whatever reason, I'm not going to be drinking.
Yeah.
I think I would get one of these.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I would. It kind of, at least you get kind of that taste that, you know.
You do. And it looks a lot like beer. The only thing I think that is really noticeably different is the carbonation aspect of it to me. It's definitely a lot more flat, I would say, than any of the other beers that we've had.
Yep. Yeah, and you're right on. Beeradvocate.com doesn't have very many people rating this. You know, they're not big fans. Like you said, few or no bubbles, no head.
Yeah.
Kind of earthen, pretty IPA-ish. This guy says it has a urine golden hue, which, I mean, you maybe,
If you're dehydrated.
yeah, if you're really, really dehydrated, I guess. But just, you know, I've seen worse reviews.
Yeah. Now, apparently, I guess I have come a long way, I want to say, with beer, because am I gonna be able to finish this? I don't know. I don't know if I'll be able to finish one. To me, it tastes. I guess it kind of tastes exactly like how you would picture a non-alcoholic beer to taste. You know. But we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. Not terrible is about the best thing this guy has to say about it.
Has it got a rating?
Well, one guy gave it a 1.9 out of 5. The other guy gave it a 3.09 out of 5, which, you know, isn't
Not
terrible.
bad.
And this guy, you know, I guess that, you know, this puts it into perspective. This guy says, I'm going to try to rate this for what it is, not against a real IPA.
As you should.
Right.
Right now, I haven't had any other non-alcoholic beers, so I mean, this might be a 5 out of 5 compared to the others.
Yep. It is light. It doesn't have that bold, strong, bitter flavor.
No, not at all.
You know.
And it has no, like they said, no head at all.
Yeah,
But
the
it
true
looks like
test, the true test will be, as we sit here this afternoon, will we, either one of us have a
Get through
second?
a second.
That'll
We'll
be the
see.
question.
We'll see.
Yeah. So what do we have on store? What do we have in store for everyone today?
Well, I think today's going to be one of our more fun podcasts. We've got a special guest coming in from Microsoft. His name is Mike Silver, and I believe his partner title is, or his job title is partner account manager. I could be wrong. We'll see. We've got some new Business Central news for everybody, and then we're going to be talking about the new Dimension features that are set to be released this coming April with Business Central's 2021 release Wave 1. And then we're going to be talking about a interesting little app that is pretty easy to use called Use Dynamics. So stay tuned. And next up, we've got Mike Silver. Welcome back to A Shot at Business Central and a Beer. Today, we are lucky enough to have Mike Silver, who is Mike, we believe you're a partner account manager. Is that your official title at Microsoft?
Partner account manager. Those are old days. I am now a partner development manager.
Partner
we go.
development manager. Yeah.
Yeah.
We checked out we checked out your signature, but we couldn't find the official job title in there. So, so Mike, You've been with Microsoft for a little while right now. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Maybe how you ended up at Microsoft? If you have any hobbies, you like beer, kind of go down the road about who you really are.
Wow. The deep insights. Well, sure. Happy to answer the question. As far as Microsoft, yeah, I'm going on 5 years here, so it's been a 5-year run. As a partner development manager, my initial role here at Microsoft was really to help launch what is today Business Central, the small mid-market product in the ERP space that we brought to market a few years ago. And that then turned into a role where they asked me to oversee we call it a portfolio of partners all focused in the dynamic space, and really to support their efforts in what they're doing to drive market and acquire customers and build talent. And really from a role they say to be more strategic, how to keep them aligned with everything Microsoft's doing and keep their businesses going forward. So that's the role today. Prior to Microsoft, I was a partner like you guys here in Chicago, started selling MAS 90 from what is now Sage Software, now Sage 200, and Great Plains back in 1989 when it was still on Novell. So that tells you how old I am. But and then when the world of Windows started coming to play, we jumped on board with the Solomon product, the Solomon software that was an early entry into the Windows market. And we just kind of hitched our wagons there. And for many, many years, we're Solomon's largest partner here in Chicago. Made it through the transition when Microsoft bought Solomon and Great Plains and got very involved with Microsoft partner advisory councils and a lot of the executives. And we just drove a lot of business in that market for professional services and some industry specialties in finance and back office and multi-entity accounting. Had the opportunity to sell the business in 2012, and we did that. And then after that, spent some time at Intact, which is one of our competitors today, recently bought by Sage, helping them bring their product to market and part of their partner enablement program. So a little bit of my history in this world of ERP for the small and mid-market.
Very cool. Very cool. So prior to 2012, I'm just curious here. I would imagine most of the business was localized. Are you surprised at how quickly it's jumped to where partners can work nationwide now?
Yeah, hands down. Yeah, everything was on-prem. Most of our business was here in Chicago, and we didn't have the SaaS solutions available then. They were just starting to come to market. We didn't have the ability to do implementations over the internet and tie things in through web services as nice as it is today. And wow, it's been almost 10 years, but the change and the growth in technology it's unbelievable, right? It's things that we never thought we could do back then we're doing today. So
yeah. So I won't throw you such a softball question to say is Business Central doing well? I think we know it is doing well. The market seems to be accepting it. Partners are pretty busy helping their customers either implement Business Central or move there. What do you think from your perspective at Microsoft? What are some of the reasons that Business Central is become so effective?
It's a great question. And no question, we have absolutely seen Business Central take off, and particularly this year. What we are finding with Business Central, one, the price point is amazing, right? The price point has been so aggressively priced that customers look at it and say, we need to consider this option, right? If it doesn't fit things, fine, we'll move on. But we're getting into more deals because I think the price point has really been driving that interest in the product. Secondly, we know that not just in and of itself as being a ERP or an accounting system, whatever you want to call it, we're bringing more and more to market because we're tying it into the rest of the Microsoft technology stack. So even things like Microsoft Office, we can look at customers without ever leaving Office. We're doing quotes through Office. We're managing our business through Office. The latest release has got integrations with Teams and workflows. We're leveraging tools in Azure for data analytics, the Microsoft Power Platform for doing more data mining and dashboarding. It's that whole Microsoft story where Business Central is almost acting as the central repository for the business transactions.
Right.
And then customers are being able to bring all this familiar technology to the table that they're used to using, like Office, and layer it in with what we're doing with Business Central. So
yeah, it's definitely amazing. So
getting back to the integration part a little bit, it seems like every month or two, Microsoft is introducing new software integrations, kind of like being able to access Business Central through your Microsoft Teams platform. And people are loving it. I'm one of these people who love it. I love Microsoft Teams. But I'm wondering, do you have any idea what the bigger picture is? I know there's that whole Microsoft One software type of a thing, but any idea or any guesses on whether or not something like Microsoft Teams will be the central hub for everything, where you can work in Business Central in Teams, you can access your email in Teams, Power BI? I mean, do you know if Microsoft's moving towards something like that, or any guesses? If not,
Good question. I would have that one. I'd have to guess at because I don't have any. I don't know that. I don't know the answer to what the anticipated core platform is. I'm thinking it's going to be Outlook, right? But unfortunately, I don't have any insight into that. But what you can one bank on for sure is there will be more and tighter continued integration across all the Microsoft applications. So if you look inside the whole world of Dynamics today with our customer engagement platforms and our customer service tools and field service, that will be more and more tied to the call it Business Central as a platform, or Business Central may be a bolt onto a field service solution, down the line. So the idea that all this stuff talks to each other and shares common data really is the idea behind it, and that it isn't necessarily one place that we need to act as the central place for accessing everything. Point is, we can build it from wherever we need to be. Different businesses may need different ways of getting at different tools, right?
Yeah.
So, and with what we call that common data model, the fact that everything is in one database, all of my data is in one place. I don't have multiple customer lists or vendor lists, or I don't have opportunities in different places, and all my data is in one place where I can get at it with all the Power Platform tools as well.
Yeah, makes it a lot easier
Right.
to share between all the different softwares.
Yep, that's the vision. The vision is this one platform where all the data is in one place for us to get at easily.
I like it.
Yeah, so obviously in your role, you're out there, you're talking to different partners, again, whether on the office side or Dynamics products. Any recent trends or things like that you're seeing across partners, or and what customers are looking for in the marketplace recently?
Wow, I mean, there's been all kinds of stuff, but great question. So just generally speaking, with the pandemic, we have seen an incredible uptick, let's say in Business Central. The product is well up over 100% over last year. And the adoption rate's been unbelievable. There are hundreds of thousands of users using it. So the whole push to move to remote workforces and leverage technology in a new way, the pandemic has really pushed that. And we see partners changing their business models, the move to subscriptions, just the ability to do remote work and support remotely has really been certainly the theme, I would say, of this past year. As far as like partners and their business, there's this huge push we're finding for, I'm going to say this business applications platform, where it's not just Business Central, but customers looking to really take their business to a more competitive level through digital adoption, right? Call it the digital transformation move. So bringing things to the table where maybe it's not so much about an inventory or a general ledger transaction, what we would typically find in the ERP systems, but we're maybe front ending that with customer management or customer service issues that are becoming such a big deal. Tools that are like with chat bots today, right, are the things that customers are looking for. So we're seeing a big interest from just the marketplace in adopting technology to be more customer facing, more customer centric, and to serve customers remotely. And then obviously some of that customer service boils into what we do on the backside of the business as well, making sure inventories are there and products available for shipping. But it's all that customer facing, customer kind of centric mentality that we're finding the marketplace really having the appetite for.
Yeah,
that answer the question, I hope.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, and with all this digital transformation and the push for things to be more automated and whatnot, and the extensions of Business Central with apps, my question to you is that I know that customers and partners can become a little frustrated by the number of different invoices they receive and that that they have to pay. Are you aware of any future plans for streamlining the app source site, kind of like how Apple does with the iPhone, their platform. No matter what you download, you get invoiced directly from Apple.
Right. Yeah, we've heard that from other partners, and definitely that managing this stuff is not super simple. There has been some discussion around getting some kind of consolidated platform and the ability to attach apps directly through the business applications. I think we're a little bit away from that yet, but the issue has definitely hit the radar, and there are partners that are definitely voicing their frustration. So
Yeah.
we're hearing it, and it's definitely, I know, something that's being looked at internally.
Good.
Yep. Yeah. And on the other side of that spectrum is one of the really big positives. And I know that, now there's within Business Central, you actually can go into the help, and you can click on the feedback. And what users actually have the ability in Business Central to make suggestions for new features,
Yep.
and also vote on other things that other people have suggested. And I just want to say it's been really great to see over the last several releases that Microsoft is taking the top vote getters and incorporating them into Business Central. Like, you're seeing it within 6 months, 12 months, that these things are turning into reality, and that's
Yep.
been, I think, really great to see.
Yeah, and it's pretty cool too, because the engineering team has been reaching out to us as the partner interface folks far more often than we've seen as well, saying, what are your partners saying? What is it that we need to do? Where do we need to fix a problem or add a feature? Or what about transitions from all the on-premise products over the years? Engineering has been super tightly integrated with us, more than I've seen since I've been here in 5 years.
Yeah.
And they're very, very interested in the feedback we're getting from you as partners, bringing the product to market. And it's great to hear from a partner that they're seeing the results of all that work coming together. So thanks for the endorsement and the proof of concept on that one, because
Yeah.
we don't always get to see if it actually works at the end of the day.
I think for many years, and I'm going to go on a limb and say I'm probably speaking for a lot of people, it felt like, if you made a suggestion, it was kind of like you were just dropping it into a hole in the middle of the desert. But now you can see how many people voted on these things. You can see what the status is of the plans for getting these deployed, and that transparency, that's that's got to add customer satisfaction.
Yeah, and we're seeing that as well. We're seeing less churn in the product. CSAT scores are absolutely going up. So generally speaking, from Business Central specifically, the product's been, this year, it really is hitting its stride. And I think what's really exciting about it is we're really just starting to scratch the surface with it. It really hasn't even made a dent in the market yet. So
yeah. Now, if I had to put you on the limb, would you say that more cloud subscriptions for Business Central have been sold than on-premise?
hands down, no question about it.
Yeah.
Not even a close comparison. The cloud stuff and the SaaS model is absolutely the way to go. It's certainly Microsoft's direction as a cloud first company. And we'll continue to see more and more of that.
And I love that I heard that for the first time a few years ago now, where Microsoft said we're cloud first. And I can tell you that I think that's huge. Just the fact that there is an on-premise option available, because although most people, like you're saying, especially today, are going to the cloud, we do run into opportunities where, for whatever reason, they can't operate in a cloud. Either maybe they're in aerospace and they've got some ITAR, security requirements. Some of our customers are, believe it or not, still in areas where they don't have reliable high-speed internet.
Mhm.
And in those cases, just to know that, hey, you want to run this on your own server sitting in your building, absolutely, we can give you the same product.
Yeah, it's nice to know the option's still available if they
Right.
need it.
And there's other scenarios too. And again, probably the good reason and the case for the fact that my guess is it's going to be around for quite some time. We've seen stuff like one of Microsoft's big focused markets is government, state, local governments, federal government, and the whole subcontractor, government contractor space where some of these organizations must be running in a secure cloud. And they can't really be on a SaaS model, right? If they're going to go into the cloud, or they need to be somewhere other, even more secure than being on-prem, we're finding a number of companies, and particularly these partners that are focused in the government space and government contractors, taking the on-prem version of something like Business Central and deploying it in the government cloud so that they got their own private tenant, they've got their own control, but they're in a very secure environment. So lots of good stories for that.
Yep.
So, are you going on record saying that the future Business Central roadmap is to include on-premise as well?
Wow, pushing me to the limit. What I will go on record and say is I have not heard of, nor do I see any near-term discontinuation of the on-prem version.
Hear no evil, see no evil.
Yep.
I get it. Good to hear. Good to hear. Quick question though. So we were talking about like Microsoft kind of chain. You know, Ken brought up that in years past, you made a suggestion. It was like you weren't being heard or listened to or whatnot. Do you think a lot of that changed when Satya Nadella became, you know, CEO or whatever his official title is of Microsoft?
I would think so. I think a lot of it is just the maturity of the cloud model. I think it's Microsoft's continued commitment to the partner channel and the way they go to market. But certainly there's been, as an employee here, specifically over the last 5 years, there's been some incredibly great, call it culture changing and efforts made to really get Microsoft to be we call it a knowledge first company, right?
Mhm.
Not be a know-it-all, but to be a learn-it-all. And I think over the years, Microsoft was the big mean gorilla in the marketplace and threw our weight around a little bit. But under Satya's just leadership, even things like today, we're going through some training on how to have all of us be leaders and not be afraid to come to the table and challenge your boss and bringing things that are sometimes not comfortable to discuss and coming to the table with an open mind and being more empathetic across the work we do. Yeah, Satya's, it's an amazing place to work. I will say I feel very fortunate to have landed here, and there's so much that we're seeing from a cultural change that, again, I think this is just the beginning of where things are headed. So
Nice. Good to
Yep.
hear. Good to hear.
Yeah, well, I just want to, before we wrap it up here, I just want to say, thank you. It's always great to get, perspectives from different, right, parties or perspectives.
If we got a few minutes left, I would love to hear from you guys as a Microsoft partner. What's working for you guys and what are you seeing as a partner today, right? Share with everybody the things that are working for you. And I just being connected with you guys now for a number of years and knowing you competitively in Chicago, you guys got a great play, right? The Solution Systems brings some serious technology capability to the table and some great experience and super good, deep capability and knowledge. What's working for you guys today?
Yeah, so several things are working, and it's all good. So I would say from the product perspective, you touched on it. You touched on several of the things, when you said, what's working for Business Central. It's the integration with Office and Teams. People love you show them, and here comes an inbound email. And I can click and see my customer's balance and their open orders and even create an order or a quote directly in Outlook. That's fantastic stuff. So that tight integration with the other Microsoft products, the price point is also huge. I mean, for a full, Business Central offers pretty robust manufacturing capabilities. Service management, if you make equipment and service equipment, I mean, there's a lot of functionality built into it, and then you share the price point. Especially if you have some Teams users there or people just are reading data.
And the ability to attach certain like Dynamics 365 sales app for, to Business Central for $20.
Right.
Pretty good.
Yeah. So those are the things. I mean, I believe. I'm a huge fan of NAV and Business Central now, obviously. So I've always believed in the product. I love it. But now I think the audience is larger. There's more awareness of it or growing awareness of it. And the online resources are the last thing. The availability, you go to docs.microsoft.com and you've got all these videos. Microsoft Learn has a ton of videos and learning tools out there for users. that makes it really, really compelling.
Yeah, even the introduction of things like Yammer, where they're people are constantly asking questions and Microsoft personnel are answering questions. It's really it's really helpful.
Right. It's that bang for the buck and that value of the community, right?
Yeah, the price point for Business Central. I mean, you got to imagine it makes it hard for some of the apps to
Yeah.
charge what they charge to,
Right.
you know what I mean,
Yeah.
to compete. But
Yeah. Yeah.
so
Good problem to have, right?
yeah, very good problem. So before we get into this quick little 5-question speed round that we have for you, Mike, my last question to you is, where can our listeners connect with you online? I mean, I know you're pretty active on LinkedIn and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Look me up on LinkedIn. I don't know that I can answer a lot of questions all the time, depending on what the volume is, but I'm trying to post and keep pretty up to date on a lot of the content I get here internally. Certainly events and things, LinkedIn's probably the best place for me. And if somebody wants to talk that you guys are working with, by all means, you can reach out to me anytime and set up a call with a prospect or a customer if you need that through me. As long as they're working through you, I can do that as well anytime. So.
Perfect. So speed round, 5 questions, maybe 6, yes or no answers.
I have one final bonus thrown.
Oh.
I think maybe.
You want to do it after the
Uh-oh.
speed question, after the speed round?
Yeah, I'll do it
After?
at the end. We'll wrap it up. Yeah.
All right. So you ready, Mike?
All right, bring it on.
All right. It's currently a cloud-first software kind of a world. Will on-premise software ever rebound and be more dominant than the cloud version?
No.
Okay. Do you think Business Central licensing will be able to be purchased directly from Microsoft in the future?
No.
Are you tired of these Chicago winners?
No. Love them.
Will AppSource double the number of apps it currently has within the next year?
Yes.
All right, 2 more. Do you believe in ghosts?
That question scares me.
And finally, did somebody from the Smashing Pumpkins ever buy something from you?
It's the other way around. I bought them from them. I bought the drawer from the Smashing Pumpkins house back in 2003. Right?
Nice.
Wow, that's a nice little piece of trivia there. I
It's since been sold again, so a good 10 years there, and that was good enough.
Yeah, so I got, with obviously this podcast is a shot of Business Central and a beer. So I would be remiss if I didn't ask you. So let's say it's Friday afternoon, it's 5 o'clock on a nice, beautiful, sunny summer afternoon. You're going outside to sit outside and have a nice cold drink. What's your drink of choice?
Wow.
It doesn't have to be alcohol, right?
Could be anything.
Yeah, anything.
It's hint water, any flavor, been my favorite thing. And if it's a rough day at Microsoft, it's a good vodka on the rocks.
There we go.
Straight.
Old
Straight
school.
up on the rocks,
Yeah.
right?
Definitely a closet
A little
drinker.
twist, all good. Right.
All right, Mike. Well, we appreciate you taking the time to join us and flood us with some more knowledge and give us a little bit of insight into Microsoft's world. So thanks again. If there's anything we can do for you, let us know. And if we need you, we'll definitely reach out. We appreciate everything.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks for having me, and thanks for all you guys do, and keep singing that Microsoft song. You guys are doing great. Rock stars, no doubt.
Thank you, sir. Talk to you later.
Thank you, guys.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Shot of Business Central. And I personally do not have too much late breaking news, just because the late breaking news is going to happen next month, a lot of it. So, but got a couple things. I saw that they released business.
Is that a teaser?
That's a
Is
teaser,
that
yeah.
a teaser
Yeah.
for
yeah.
next month?
Yeah, next month's going to be big. I did see that Microsoft released version 17.5 for Business Central. I noticed that there's as usual, a bunch of hot fixes.
Yeah.
But I did not see any new feature changes. I don't know if you saw anything.
No.
So, as always, just be on the lookout for that download or whatever, and stay with it. Also, you can now use your custom APIs in Power Automate and Power Apps through the Business Central connector. So the connector is going to show up as Dynamics 365 Business Central, but it's able to connect to any environment now powered by Business Central, even if that environment has been rebranded. So good for all you Power Apps
Developers
junkies out there and developers, yeah. I also noticed and tried out that the 2021 release Wave 1 Sandbox preview is available.
Yeah,
I saw that there were two versions when I went to download it. I'm not sure why there were two versions.
they've already added a second.
You think so?
Yeah, I created my sandbox
Yep.
this week, and I picked the newer version.
So did I. I wish I would have picked the other version now just to see if it would have worked. But you try any features out in there?
I did, yeah. We're and actually in our next segment, our feature segment, we're gonna highlight a couple of the application features that are new in there.
Very, very nice.
Pretty exciting stuff.
And to keep rolling along with exciting stuff, got some Business Central app news. App Source has kind of undergone a little bit of a redesign, at least the homepage has. So when I logged on, I can't tell you the last time I logged on before that, but it's noticeably different than what it was before. There is also now 1,363 Business Central apps on App Source.
73.
73, yep. 73 in the last 2 hours. So people are moving along. Did you log on and take a look at it? Does it look a little bit different at first?
Yeah, it did. Yeah, the just a little bit different. What I noticed is that when you go in, if you're looking for a specific app, you go up to the up on the top of the page. There's a search window, so you can type in something like let's say credit card, for example. And what it does is, as you type in it actually shows you right below the search window all the apps that match.
Nice.
So you don't have to hit enter
And then go
and
through the whole
search
list
and then look
kind of
through them.
thing.
It actually shows you the list of matching apps right there. If you hit enter, it'll take you and show you
Everything that's
some of the
associated.
lists like normal, but little
maybe it's-
improvements there.
Yeah, definitely. I'm still waiting for the ability to filter by what's new in the last month or whatever, 30 days, but that hasn't been there yet. So
Now you can filter by categories of products, industries. Only show me the ones that have a free trial or a test drive. Show me all the free apps that are out
Yeah.
there, or by ratings.
Yeah.
1-star and up, 2-star and up, 3-star and up, so on.
but why not by what's new?
Right.
wanna know
Just
what's
show
been
me the
added.
new stuff. What's been added in the last week or month.
Yeah, whatever. Can't be too difficult. So, but all right. So I know you got a little bit of news on some local user groups.
Yeah, I just wanted to, the Dynamic Communities group that hosts the Dynamics Summit event annually, has for years now has hosted some local user groups. So what they'll do, they'll go, oh, you're in the Chicago area. We're going to create a Chicago chapter, right, for each product. And then all the users in that group, they can do some on-site in-person meetings and have group outings and events, even go out for drinks after a meeting and everything like that. And so I saw some news come out this month that they're going to kind of be taking a step away from that. And Microsoft is going to be rolling out a local user group program this year. So
Nice.
Starting in April, I think people are going to start to see some specifics around that. But yeah, it looks like Microsoft is going to kind of take the lead on
That'd be cool.
hosting or running those like local user groups.
That'd be cool. I think I remember about 5 or 6 years ago, I think Microsoft did a traveling kind of a user group where they would stop at different cities.
Yeah.
And you could come and visit and talk and chat and then they
Yeah.
would take that and go to the next
Like
city.
a road tour.
Yeah, like a
kinda.
road tour. Yeah. So I wonder if it'll be something like that, but
Yeah, I don't know. So details to come out, but I know that, a lot of people are active in their local chapters. So just, be aware that there may be some changes and some a bigger Microsoft presence of leading those.
and you said to look forward to that in April? Some
I
more
think
information?
what I saw said, starting in April, they're gonna start announcing some additional details about
I
that.
wonder if it's gonna go virtual.
Yeah, that may be part of the whole
Start out
thing, right?
maybe, yeah.
So. Yeah, and the other piece of news, not so much news, but just a reminder, for Business Central, They're rolling out some new partner competencies. So two different flavors of it. One under the cloud platform and another one for business applications specialization. And there's a new Business Central certification exam that's out there. So if you're an application consultant, right, or a user and you want to become certified in Business Central, there's actually a certification exam that Microsoft has available. You take it through a testing take it through a testing center, and then you're officially certified in Business Central. So,
Nice.
So some new details around how they're going to create these partner competency programs around becoming like a silver partner or gold partner.
Mhm.
But really what Microsoft is trying to do is make sure that partners have a way to differentiate and showcase their specialization around Business Central. So that if you're out there, you're looking for a partner, or you want to just understand, is this a Business Central partner? You'll be able to kind of look at that and see, okay, yeah, they do have a Business Central specialization.
Right.
This is something that they do a lot of.
Very, very true. All right. Well, that's it for the shot of Business Central this month. Not too much, like we said earlier, late breaking news. But next up, we're going to be talking about new Dimensions features that are set to come out next month with a new update from Business Central. So stick around. Welcome back to our feature segment. And just like the Brady Bunch had Marsha, we've got Dimensions. So you guessed it, we're talking about Dimensions and a couple of the new features that are rolling out here next month for the Business Central 2021 release wave 1. They got to work on that name.
Yeah, it's a mouthful.
Yeah, it definitely is. So Ken, this is your area of expertise. You're Mr. Finance. What do you got for us?
Yeah, so let's start off. So what we're going to be talking about here is with the 2021 Wave 1 that's coming out in April, they're adding some new features and functionality around the dimensions functionality that exists. So dimensions, just to kind of give everyone a 30-second recap, dimensions are basically like general ledger chart of account segments. So it allows you to set up these multiple dimension codes so that you can track different types of segments that you might want to track, like region or product class, customer class, department, cost center, things that, in other systems they're represented as like separate segments in a chart of accounts. In Business Central, you can have an unlimited number of those, and we call them dimensions. And then you can set default dimensions and say, okay, whenever I use this customer, I always want the customer group or customer class to be assigned. And then we can do financial reporting based on these. So we could look at a revenue analysis. We could look at product group dimension by customer class and see who's buying the most products, where's our highest gross profit, right? So a lot of financial analysis can be done using dimensions. So that's there. It's a standard feature. It exists today. What they've done is they've added some additional features. The first feature, which has been a highly requested feature for many years that Microsoft has added into the product now, are some limitations around which dimension values can be used in different scenarios. So
Nice.
let me give you a simple example. So today you can go in and let's say you have a general ledger account called advertising expense. So that allows us to track how much are we spending on advertising. What you can do today is you can go in and you can say, okay, whenever anyone uses the advertising expense account, they must specify a department code. And the department code could be its internal departments like admin, marketing, production, warehouse, right? Different departments. Okay. But all you could say is that the user must pick a department. So in this example, obviously, a production department really doesn't have an advertising expenses, right? So with this new feature, when you go into the general ledger account for advertising expense, you click on dimensions. You say, okay, I want to specify that for department, code mandatory is required, but then you can also specify which departments can be used. So you could say only the sales department can be used with advertising expense.
Okay.
And that's a huge benefit by being able to say, it doesn't make sense. Why would someone pick the production department for advertising?
Right.
Right.
So, but in past versions, you were able to pick.
Right. As of today, right, the current release, when the user goes in, they could select any department. They have to, if you set up a code mandatory rule, they just have to pick a department.
Okay.
So now you can actually limit that. So that's pretty cool.
Very nice.
And I went in, I did in my sandbox environment, I went in and I used the preview
Yeah.
to go in and test that out. So it worked, right? I set up that scenario and it wouldn't let me post a journal entry or a purchase invoice where I use the advertising expense account and I use department production, right?
Very nice. So would you say it worked as you would have expected it to work?
It worked as I would have expected it, yes.
Okay.
However, I'm like an end user, right? I admit, there's always more, right? So I already have my next feature request, for this, and which is this, right? And this is something I think is just worth mentioning is so I set up this rule. And then I went in and I created a purchase invoice for a vendor and I picked my advertising expense account. When I got to the department field and I did a lookup, I still had all three options available.
Really?
And I could still pick production as my department. The validation comes in when you do a preview posting or you try to post the entry. That's where you get the error.
Okay.
So maybe next release, if we can all ask for, is to not even show me production as one of the departments that I could pick, because it's looking to see, oh, you're using advertising expense.
Right.
Don't even allow me to even see that on that.
Just hide it.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, it makes complete sense.
Yep. So, but it did, like you said, good way to put it. It met the expectations. This is what I wanted.
Right.
I don't want a user to post an entry using a dimension code that they really shouldn't be using in that situation.
So it works, but just not.
It works, but isn't there always something else that we could do to make it better? There always is. So this is, it's been a highly sought after request from a lot of people. So that is cool. So that's the first feature that I checked out.
Awesome.
And so that works and I like it. The next one, also dimension related, is what's called dimension corrections. And so in this scenario, let's say I posted that purchase invoice for advertising and I hit my sales department. And then I posted it and someone's, let's say the department manager is looking at their financials, their income statement for their month. And they look at this and they see an advertising expense and they go, wait, whoa. This should not have hit my department. This should have hit the marketing department, not the sales department. Right? So today, what you'd have to do to correct that is you'd have to go do a journal entry. Just a non-related journal entry to reclass that from the sales department to the marketing department.
Okay.
So what they've added now is if you go to a posted GL entry record, there's actually a new button up on the ribbon, a new option called dimension corrections. And if you click on that, it opens a window, and in the window you can see all the different dimensions that were assigned to that GL entry. And in there you can actually choose to say, I want to correct this, and you can pick a different dimension.
Very nice.
And then you hit run, and it kind of behind the scenes, it says, okay, this has been scheduled for changing. So it kind of runs it for you. And it doesn't just update the entry, it actually writes an audit trail. So
Really?
you actually have on that same page, you can go into, and there's actually another option called dimension correction history. So you actually could see that on this date, someone went in and they changed this from sales to marketing.
Nice.
There's also an undo button.
Really?
So you could undo the change and revert it back to the original
Pretty nice.
entry. So again, well done. It works. It
Oh.
did what it said it was gonna do.
Excuse me. But
But is there a but? There's.
I think there's a but.
Isn't there always a but?
There's gotta be a but.
Yeah. So, and it does say this, maybe not quite as clearly as it could be stated, but it does say this in the new feature release. In the example I did, I created a purchase invoice, right?
Okay.
And when I posted the purchase invoice, that created a posted purchase invoice and GL entry records. When I did the correction, it made the correction within the GL entries. It did not make the correction back on my purchase invoice lines, my posted purchase invoice. So it's not going to go back and update all the related source document entries associated with it. Again, maybe that's 2021 wave.
But you'd like for that to happen, right?
I think, right. I think from a
User standpoint,
just consistency standpoint, it would be good if it went and it corrected it across the board.
Yeah.
However, with that said, the number one priority for people is Dimensions is a financial reporting mechanism, right? That's what it's for. So, if you're updating the dimension values in the GL entry records, you're accomplishing what you need to accomplish, which is you're correcting your financial statements. So,
Maybe in a future release.
Yeah, but it did what it did. It worked well. I liked the audit trail that it created. It showed me what it was and what it got changed to.
Yeah.
It had an undo feature. And so it was pretty cool. And I actually went in, I made the change, I did the change, I made the change again, right? So I kind of, I was trying to break it.
Yeah.
And I couldn't.
I couldn't?
No.
So it's definitely a feature that's gonna be used by.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, people pick the wrong dimensions all the time.
Yeah.
And then, and then they have to go, well, I got to do a credit memo and then re-invoice it.
Right.
If you want to correct it, the true way or fully today, that's what you have to go through. So it's a nice change. And I think
Sounds very nice.
the theme that it kind of incorporates is more forgiving. Right?
More forgiving?
Yeah. So
What do you mean?
well, Business Central, right, as an ERP system, right, there's gap accounting requirements. You need to have a strong audit trail, right? Auditors want a system to know that there are controls in place and that there's a strong audit trail. And Business Central has that. There's right, it's a single solution, right? A comprehensive ERP solution that's all integrated, right? And there's strong audit trails throughout the system. But that also means that it's not quite as flexible and easy to change things as you might always want.
Gotcha.
So the more things like this that they can do where a user can easily go in and correct a mistake, the better.
Gotcha.
And I think in a couple, several releases ago, they added a similar thing. Like if you misposted a purchase invoice, for example, you could hit a cancel button. And the cancel button would just auto create a credit memo for you.
Yeah.
Or a correct button that would create and post a credit memo and then create the new invoice for you to correct and post. So those types of things that Microsoft is adding that make it more easy to correct mistakes.
Do you think Business Central has room for improvement, meaning with their ability to be more flexible and allow for change and whatnot, or no? Or do you think it's good where it is?
There's always room for improvement in any application, but I would say to a point, right? So if you take, for example, the opposite end of the spectrum is QuickBooks.
Right.
QuickBooks, I call it the Wild West.
Change anything?
You can change anything you want at any time, right? Oh, you don't like that invoice? Just change the amount. Oh, you don't want that there? Delete it.
Which is
Right.
not so good for audit trails and everything, right?
Correct. For a, you know, a company that requires an audit trail and, you know, reconcilable financials.
Mhm.
And the ability to close a period and lock it and make sure that people can't make changes to that anymore once you've decided you've closed that period.
Right,
Those controls have to be there. And people just have to understand that, right? With that means that in certain cases, if you do something wrong and you have to correct it, that you're gonna have to
yeah,
go make some adjusting entries, right? It's not just as simple as
Right.
going to the posted entry and correcting it.
I think Business Central don't they allow you to sign a user or something to be able to go back and change something after like a fiscal year is closed or whatnot?
Yeah, they're adding, right, allow changes after a certain date or
Yeah.
before a certain date. Yeah, so there's some, they are improving in this regard, right? It used to be very unforgiving,
Mhm.
right? And
But-
they've been adding features
Yeah.
that make it more and more forgiving.
It's kind of better safe than sorry in the past, right?
Ultimately, they're getting really, really close to the, you know, having your cake and eat it too.
That's good.
Where you've got all these really good controls in place, but also some tools on for the user to make corrections pretty easily.
Yeah. Sounds good. Sounds real good. Well, there you have it from Ken, who definitely knows his dimensions. Next up, we're going to talk about a pretty simple little app called Use Dynamics. So stick around. We are back for the featured app segment here on A Shot of Business Central and a Beer. And as I alluded to earlier, we've got kind of an app that was probably the easiest app that I have ever had to install. It works pretty easily, and it's a pretty simple idea that works well. It's Use Dynamics app. So it's basically an easy access to video user guides for Business Central. I guess the first question most people have is who or what is Use Dynamics? And Use Dynamics it's basically a learning portal that has all videos on it. That when you're on a page in Business Central, let's say you're on sales quotes, and you want to learn something about sales quotes, you get stumped on something, you go into the ribbon, you click Use Dynamics, it opens up a new page in your browser with sales quotes videos.
It always opens sales quotes videos
So far when I tried it, it did.
if you're on the sales quotes page.
Right. You got to be on that page.
Whatever page you're on, it'll open help specific to that topic, right?
And it's not on every page. We don't know how many pages it's on, but it's on pretty much the most common basic
Major
pages, I would
ones,
say.
yeah.
Yeah. So it's free. Like I said, the install was as simple as can be. I find it funny because Use Dynamics actually isn't, from what I can see, a like Business Central partner, or they don't really support or anything like that. They're funded by a company called Abakion, maybe AS, out of Copenhagen, Denmark. So a little bit different on that standpoint, but like I said, it's pretty nice, and frankly I'm shocked that Microsoft hasn't created something like this to where each page will link to something on the Microsoft Learn portal.
Well, yeah, so there is, so if you go into help, right? So if, let's say you're on a page, let's say I'm working on blanket sales orders.
Okay.
So if I'm on the blanket sales order page and I go up and I hit the question mark up
Right.
on the top right corner, and I go into help and support, on the first line, it says, learn more about your current task or page. And there's a link that says blanket sales orders. When I click on it, it takes me to docs.microsoft.com, right to the page that says work with blanket sales orders or blanket purchase orders.
Yeah, so it's taking you to the web page. Okay.
Correct.
I did not know that.
Yep.
Pretty nice.
So where I think this comes in is if you feel like that isn't getting the
Fishing
job
out.
done for you, right? The use dynamics adds more video-based training
Mhm.
and another option for learning and understanding
Yeah.
what's out there.
Yeah, I mean, from what I've seen from it so far, I wouldn't be hesitant to recommend it. Like I said, it's really easy to install and, it can't hurt. The more
Yeah,
information you
it's
get.
free. It doesn't
Right.
seem to be hurting anything.
Yeah.
Just shows up as an option on the ribbon
Mhm.
of the page.
Now, I did notice that option is sometimes in different places on different pages, which I guess is understandable if,
Yeah,
it's not.
yeah, those ribbons aren't really consistent.
Exactly.
Across all the
So.
pages. So,
But yeah, we'll link to it in the show notes and, maybe give it a shout out and let us know. So,
yeah, I liked it. I think any opportunity that you have to add more help options for end users, the better.
Yeah.
So it's definitely worth checking out, I think.
I agree.
So,
all right, with that, I'm gonna wrap it up and we get to talk about rating the beers.
yeah,
I'll go first. So I have switched from drinking the non-alcoholic Brooklyn Special Effects beer back to the 1050 barrel aged beer. Did I like the non-alcoholic beer? It's hard to say, right? I think you touched to it earlier on the Beer Advocate review. If I rate it for what it is and not compare it to beer, it's the first non-alcoholic beer I've actually ever had, so it was pretty close. I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5. So I would give it let's say I'll give it an 85, somewhere around there, right? 85.
as a non-alcoholic beer.
Yeah, and then only as non-alcoholics, just because I think it would be a lot better if it had carbonation.
Yeah.
So I can't really see the taste being too much different than the other beers, but if you added carbonation to this, I think it's a real good, replacement for beer.
Yeah.
So, but if I'm now rating this as a beer with other beers,
Yes.
I did finish it. That last sip or two, I almost wasn't going to finish it. I was actually going to mix it with the new beer. So I'm going to go with 49.
There you go.
49.
Yes, you can't go over 50, right? Because you got to have a second one.
Right.
To get over
Right.
50
Right. Exactly.
out of 100. So I'm gonna add beer overall,
Okay.
just as a beer. And I'm gonna go 65.
65.
Yep, I did have two.
You did.
I finished them both very easily. It was light, so it was like I said, I think it was like 70 calories
Yeah.
for 12 ounces. So it's light. It had some flavor to it. It was not like just, I mean, frankly, like if you've ever, sorry, duels or sharps, but this actually had some flavor to it.
Yeah.
So they're trying a little harder than some of the other ones, but I give it a 65. I am
Not bad.
feeling sober right now.
Yeah. Now I know you were struggling with earlier about where would you fit this into your life?
Yeah.
If you thought about anything?
Well, I've thought this far. So yeah, we have a few of these left. I'm gonna take them home
Yeah.
because I know you're not
No,
gonna drink
they're
them.
yours.
So I'm gonna take them home, and then I think let's make a note next time we get back together. Let's see if I've drinking any of them,
All right. And if not,
or are they
We know.
still sitting in the fridge? But no, I think it was a nice little change up here.
oh yeah, I completely agree. Yeah, I love when it's something completely out of the box. You know what I mean? Because everybody's had regular beers. Quick question: why does this keep popping up in my head in the past about non-alcoholic beers? Wasn't there something called like near beer or something like that? Do you know of?
I'm not familiar.
Yeah, I thought there was a non-alcoholic type of beer too when I was younger.
Might have
But
been.
maybe. I'm talking about when I was a wee little lad,
Oh,
before the double digits, back in the 80s.
back when you were drinking beer in 4th grade.
Yeah, it's chafing. All right, so there you have it. We've got a 65 and a 49 for a rating. And next week, we're looking forward to next month with all the new features coming out. So happy spring, everybody.
Onward and upward.